Welcome to this week's episode of Cooking with Connie. This week we have a keto recipe. So this is our keto German chocolate melt cake. So as you can see, it is full of goodness. 3 layers of chocolate, our coconut pecan icing in between, and a lovely chocolate ganache. And yes, it is all sugar-free. You don't want to miss this week, so watch it step by step as we make this delicious dessert. All right, guys, so this week we're putting together this keto chocolate German melt cake, all right? And so we're starting with almond flour. So almond flour is a pretty common ingredient when you're doing a keto because you got the flour, but there's no carbs in it. So then we're gonna use our monk fruit allulose. So I got 2 cups of that in there. We're gonna use a cup of our monk fruit allulose, which is my sweetener of choice when it comes to anything that I'm gonna do sugar-free. We are gonna add our cocoa powder, all right? So this is Dutch processed. Now, I don't remember, but look it up, but it's important if it says to use Dutch processed to do it because it has something to do with the alkalinity of it. So you wanna make sure that you follow your directions. And of course, we have the really good quality. We have the Ghirardelli, and we're gonna use 2/3 of a cup of it. So we will. And then 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now, if you wanted to, you could put espresso powder in here. I am not a big fan of any coffee flavors, so I'm not going to add that part. We're going to use 4 eggs. And then we're going to use 1/2 of a cup of butter. And you want the butter to be melted. That way it's going to be easier to mix all this stuff together. We're going to go ahead and start mixing some of this. And we have already got prepared 3 6-inch cake rounds that we're going to bake this in. All right, so we got heavy whipping cream, so we're going to do 2/3 of a cup of our whipping cream. And you could also, instead of the whipping cream, use unsweetened almond milk, which I didn't have any, so that's why I just switched over to the whipping cream for this. We're going to put some vanilla in here. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And remember, when you do vanilla, you want the pure stuff. We don't want any of that fake imitation stuff in our good our good cake here. And then we're using hot water. So 1/2 cup of hot water, or again, if you're a coffee fan, you could put 1/2 cup of hot coffee in it. And we're going to get all this stirred up. And then we'll be able to put that into our hands over here. Okay, so we've got our batter into our 3 pans here. We've got them parchment lined and I've sprayed them, so they should be easy to come out. So we're going to put these in the 350-degree oven that I've got preheated, and it should take about 20 to 25 minutes for the cakes to bake. So we will come back when those get done. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do the middle section. So in this recipe, we're going to have those 3 layers of chocolate cake, and in between we're going to have that coconut pecan frosting. So that's what we've got here that we start cooking up. We've got a stick of butter, we got 1/2 cup of our heavy whipping cream, and then we have used 3/4 of a cup of our golden monk fruit allulose. So what we're going to do here, we've got 3 egg yolks over here waiting. So once we get this nice and warm, we're actually going to pour some of this hot stuff into the eggs to kind of get them up to temperature before we actually put them in there. And that's what they call tempering your eggs. So we're going to temper the eggs and then put that back in there, and then we'll add our pecans and our coconut, and then we'll get that yummy German chocolate coconut pecan frosting. So we'll keep working on this because I don't think you want to sit here and watch me stir this stuff until it melts. But that's what's going to happen with this. All right, guys, so Harlan is here with me to help me finish up this cake. So we've got our coconut pecan frosting here, which we put in between the layers. So we put our 3 layers in the freezer for about 20 minutes to get them nice and cool. I've made up my chocolate ganache, which was a cup of the sugar-free Chalk Zero dark chocolate chips with a half a cup of whipping cream and a tablespoon of butter. So that gives us a nice sheen. So now that we've got this layered up, then what we're going to do is we're going to pour our chocolate ganache on top here. We want to go slow now. Okay, let's put this so we can kind of...
It's falling.
Yes.
Yummy!
These guys are very excited about this chocolate cake here.
I want the top piece. Yeah, I want the top piece.
What do you think, Hatton? Is that good?
Too dark.
It is dark chocolate. You could use milk chocolate with this if you wanted to. It actually called for the dark chocolate, so I did use the dark chocolate this time. But if you like milk chocolate better, you could definitely do that with this recipe. Remember, our Chalk Zero is our favorite chocolate chips because they just melt really good. Alright, so we'll be back in just a little bit. We're going to let this kind of set up and cool down, and then we'll try to slice this without letting it fall apart. We'll see if we can do that. I'm not very talented with that, but we'll see. Yeah, you can do that. Okay. Okay, guys, here's our finished product. We got a 3-layer cake with our coconut pecan in the middle and our dark chocolate ganache over the top of that. The longer you let that set up, probably the more solidified it will be. So we were a little bit, rushed in getting it done, but it still is going to be absolutely delicious. If you wanted to do 2 layers, you could do the same recipe and just use like 2 8-inch cake pans, and then you would end up with something not quite so tall. So remember this week, check out Cooking with Connie for all your gluten-free, sugar-free cooking needs. Like, share, subscribe, and remember, don't forget to make some good choices.